Carowinds, the world-renowned amusement park in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Fort Mill, South Carolina. This park has been open since 1973, and it is home to 14 roller coasters. I have ridden 11 of them, and today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 in the park. But before we get into the top 10 list, I want to mention the 4 coasters that did not make the cut. 3 of the 4 of these coasters I have not ridden, but one I have. Number 14 is Wilderness Run, the kiddie coaster. I bet you expected that. But number 13 is Woodstock Express, the family wooden coaster. I have ridden this, and it is pretty fun. But, again, it's a family coaster, so it can't go higher than 13. Number 12 is probably going to be Kitty Hawk. I have not ridden this, but it looks like a classic Vekoma hang and bang that hurts like crazy. And number 11 is Nighthawk. I have not ridden this coaster, so I can't tell, but from the general opinion of coaster enthusiasts, it doesn't look to be the best ride in the world. Now let's jump into the real top 10. Number 10, Vortex, a B&M stand-up coaster. So this ride is a B&M stand-up coaster. So honestly, you know what part of the body it's gonna hurt, and it does hurt that part of the body. But honestly, it's not the roughest coaster ever, and you can at least make it somewhat enjoyable. Still, it's not a good ride, and it's pretty bad, and I think it's a once and done for me for my lifetime. Number 9, Ricochet, a Mock Ride's Wild Mouse. So this ride is actually okay. This doesn't have the big drop like Apple's Apple or the versions at the Legoland parks, but it does have the same thing, those hairpin turns. The hairpin turns give really good laterals, but they don't really provide anything other than the laterals. And this ride is kind of just lacking in any forces other than laterals. I mean, it has some bunny hills at the end of the ride, but they don't really make you go out of your seat much. And overall, it's just a mediocre family coaster. Nothing to complain about, nothing to smile about. Number 8, Carolina Gold Rusher, an Aero Mine Train. This is a long ride. This is one of the longest rides of the park, and it is very enjoyable. You get to see great sights at Carowinds, while also just having some thrills. One of my favorite parts of the ride is the helix and then the small drop into the brake run. And this moment gives some decent airtime and some fun intensity, even though it's not much compared to some of the other big coasters. Overall, this is a fun starting coaster for families. Number 7, Hurler, an International Coasters wooden coaster. This is the only major wooden coaster in the park, and to be honest, Carowinds needs a new wooden coaster. This one is mediocre. It's boring, but it's smooth. It gives no airtime, but it gives it's basically very meh for me. It doesn't have much, it just doesn't do much for me. And even though it's a thrill coaster, I honestly think it should be a family coaster because of how forceless it is. Number 6, Carolina Cyclone, an Aero Looper. This may be a surprise to some people, but I really like Carolina Cyclone. The drop in the back row is just pure ejector airtime, and the 2 loops are very intense. But the corkscrews are a bit headbanging, and the final helix is not that good. But overall, this ride exceeded my expectations, and I think it's an actually decent coaster. Now we are down to the top 5. At number 5, we have Flying Cobras, a Vekoma Boomerang. So this ride is a Vekoma Boomerang, so you think it would suck, right? No, it has something called Vestra Restraints, which completely improve the ride experience. The ride is actually forceful, and you can feel the force without it getting headbanging, although the restraints do tighten a lot. But this ride is super intense, and you can really experience that boomerang intensity. But overall, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's really good. Number 4, Copperhead Strike, a Mock Ride's multi-launch coaster. So this ride, after my first ride, I was not very impressed and put it 4th in the park. And now we're here where it's still 4th in the park. But instead of being a weak number 4 that I consider moving down to number 5 and just kind of staying at number 4, I consider this ride to maybe move up to number 3 or 2. It's that good. It's not the most forceful launch in the world, and it's not the most forceful ride in general, but it's just so fun, and it gives you just a fun sense when you ride it. So that's why I really like the ride, and that's why it deserves the number 4 spot. Number 3, Instrumentator, a B&M Instrumentator? Wait, sometimes the trims don't hit, and this is why it's at number 3. The trims can hit or the trims don't hit sometimes. It's really a hit or miss, so that's why I put it at number 3. The trims can hit and it absolutely kills your ride, and it would probably be a number 4 in the park. But If the trims don't kill your ride, you get some actually decent floater, and it's a really fun ride. It's really a hit or miss ride, but it's really good. Number 2, Afterburn, a B&M invert. This ride is just pure intensity. I've talked about it in other videos, and if you haven't watched them, just go click above. But I absolutely love this ride if you've watched those videos. You know how much I praise the ride for its intensity. The Batwing is insane, the 0G roll is great, the vertical loop is intense, and the ride pulls some great positives, and the drop is really good. This ride overall is an insane and great B&M invert, and I think it is the best B&M invert, other than Montu. And I have not ridden Montu, so I don't know yet, but that's coming in October, wink wink. Okay, so you know I hyped up my number 1 coaster in my top 20 coasters video, and you knew it was obviously Steel Vengeance. I don't even know how to hype this coaster up, because you already know it's Fury 325. Fury 325 is an incredible ride. It's world class. It may not be the best ride in the world, cough cough Steel Vengeance, but it has great restraints, insane airtime, a great drop, which feels like you are falling forever, and it's pretty intense for a B&M. Overall, this ride is an absolutely full package. The layout is great. Everything about this ride is great. Need I say more? No. Video done. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe, click like, comment. I don't know. We're done.